I mean, you want a bird? I'll get you a bird.
Yield this.
I want my build. My build.
Welcome to the review, a show where three small town dudes give you our worst Russian accent. Troy to the max extreme.
Y'all live as a run with blood. I think that's a thing, isn't it?
I don't think it is.
Fuck.
We're also again being joined by Dinosaur Neil via Skype. Neil, say hello.
Hey, Maine. Hey, Maine. Don't get too attached to things.
Burned him. Got him.
Hey, what's up, fellas?
Neil, glad you came back. Glad you made the trek all the way to your computer to talk to us again.
You betcha.
We missed you,
fellas.
We missed you.
This will actually cap off the trifecta of you reviewing every Iron Man movie with us.
That's right.
Because one of our
yeah.
first ever episodes was reviewing Iron Man 3.
Our first review outside of Gotham was Iron Man 3 that you were a part of.
That is amazing.
So,
thanks for completing the circle, guys.
You reviewed all three Iron Man movies with us. In no
it's more
particular
laughable that you started the show with Gotham.
It was
Why?
a bad choice.
Why
And then
did
to
we?
follow with True Detective Season 2.
Yeah.
Where we reviewed every episode as an episode.
Yeah.
What the fuck were we thinking?
What was worse? What was worse, Troy? True Detective Season 2 or the episode of Balloon Man from Gotham?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because they were both fucking terrible.
And the
Both
fact that,
an
like,
entire season.
so Gotham was supposed to go, like, 20 episodes, and then they tacked, like, 5 episodes on, like, as we thought it was going to be done, and we're like, fuck us! What is happening here? And then just a 1-2 punch of goddamn True Detective, which I guess to our, like, surprise, ended up not being good after the first season was great.
Yeah.
So that sucked.
Yeah.
And then we're just like, you know what? We should probably just do movies.
Good
Then,
choice.
then you have what we have now.
And
Even
now
though
here we are.
True Detective Season 3 is pretty fucking good.
Still haven't seen that yet.
Check it out. It's good.
Why are we talking about that? We're going into Iron Man 2.
Yeah. Let's talk about something better, like Iron Man 2.
Hey, why don't I hit you right up the stats and we can get chatting about the movie here. It dropped May 7th, 2010. Almost 2 years to the day Iron Man 1 came out. Had a budget of $200 million.
Jesus.
Opening weekend made $128.1 million. Domestically, $302.4 million. Worldwide, $623.9 million. Rotten Tomatoes has this at a 73%. IMDb, 7 out of 10. Metacritic, 57%.
Really?
Yes. IMDb, the score is a little bit lower, but almost right on par with Iron Man 1. Metacritic's
10 bit lower.
20% lower.
Tad bit lower.
Rotten Tomatoes also 20% lower.
Yeah.
So yeah, did better financially, not as good. I'm not going to say it was way worse, but it didn't fare as well as critically. But I went on to also look at a fun other statistic.
Yeah?
So when Endgame is coming out, or when it was announced, everyone and their mother wanted to rank every single MCU movie to be what is their favorite and what is their worst, and rank all 21 movies up to this point.
Yeah.
So I took a smattering of few of the big reviews
Yeah.
to show where Iron Man 2 sits on their list.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, a lot of them are very low.
Very low.
Let me give you some of them. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 review sites that ranked all of these, and I'll tell you where they stand. And these are all out of 21.
Okay.
Variety magazine, or the publication, Variety, regardless of where it is, has it at the 4th from the bottom.
Ooh.
I think only Age of Ultron, Thor, and maybe even Thor 2 is below it.
I would say throw the... I don't know.
But I'll move on.
I'll talk about mine near the end.
Business Insider has this as their worst movie, MCU movie.
Jesus.
Film School Rejects has this as their worst MCU movie. Collider has this as their worst MCU movie.
Wow.
Esquire Magazine has this at their 5th worst
Shit.
MCU movie.
What's Esquire's worst?
I didn't write all of those down because I was writing down a lot of stuff.
Gotcha.
I want to say it was The Incredible Hulk, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
The Wrap gave this 3rd from the bottom. And Screen Rant, where I actually pick a lot of our interesting news out.
Yeah.
Worst MCU movie. A lot to live up to, Iron Man 2.
Yep.
And
Like
so-
I said, a lot of the MCU might be just an Iron Man sandwich in terms of what people think.
Maybe so. I mean, the Iron Man movies, besides the first one, I've heard get dogged on a lot for being like, everyone loves Iron Man, but the movies, I guess, don't stack up as well on a rewatch.
Well, I don't know.
We'll get into it.
We brought it up in our review of the third one a long fucking time ago, but
Right.
I like the third one.
So do I. I like parts of the third one. As a whole, I don't like it as much, but there are parts of it I really do like. So but I haven't also seen that in a long time either. After now that I've gone back and watched 1 and 2, I think I'm gonna watch 3 again.
I know. I kind of want to
cap
go
it off.
back and watch 3 again now too.
Neil, are you surprised at any of these stats?
Gosh, surprised? No, but it's not. I'm actually looking at a list right now, and it's hard because it's not. I don't think it's the worst one for me, but it's hard to put it a really high because some of these are really good. So it's so tough, especially after Thor: The Dark World, it's like Winter Soldier, Guardians. I mean, Age of Ultron is probably the only stinker. And then like Ant-Man, Civil War, Doctor Strange, Guardians 2, Spider-Man, Ragnarok, Black Panther. Like, you're not going downhill from there. Like, I would even say they just kind of get better as they go. So it just sits in a weird spot. And it sucks that it's probably one of the lower ones in my list too, but that I still enjoy this movie though.
Yeah, I would tack onto that too. I don't dislike any Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Even though there's some that I would like, some are better than the others. I would agree that they've hit high marks a few times where now if they don't live up to that expectation, like it's the worst movie ever. You know what I mean? So I think this movie, I don't think it's the worst MCU movie. And I don't want to rank all these either, but I do think this movie sits in that weird middle area where like a lot of these hit.
Yeah.
Where a lot of them are not like a Winter Soldier or like a Civil War or an Infinity War or like even like an Iron Man, which we reviewed last week.
Yeah.
On Thursday. I think those are really high marks. And then like lower marks I think are like Incredible Hulk and then Thor: The Dark World. Even though like everyone dogs on those, I still like the Thor movies. I liked all of them, like I already said. But I do think this one hits like I think I might like this more than like the first Ant-Man. But even I didn't hate the first Ant-Man either.
Right. That's
back-
kind of where I am too.
But I don't want to go ahead and rank all these. Joel, you're getting kind of quiet over there.
Well,
What are you
I'm
thinking?
just waiting for you to explain what happened in Iron Man 2,
God
Troy.
damn it.
Ooh.
You done did me raw. Iron Man 2 follows Tony Stark's exploits now that he's out in the public as the titular Iron Man. Maybe the title going a bit to his head. He's a bit more cocky and cocksure of himself in the very beginning of this movie. It also comes out that the thing that gave him life is now slowly poisoning him. And he has to find a way to counteract that, as well as fight off the new villain villains in this movie.
Villains.
Someone connected to his past. Not Ivan Drago. Why can't I think of his name now?
Because I brought up Rocky.
A Whiplash and Justin Hammer.
Yeah.
And then he has to overcome those odds as well as find out what's killing him from the inside. There you have a bit of Iron Man 2 in a handbasket right there.
There you go.
Yeah. What's his freaking name is it Ivan something?
Yeah. I can't
Ivan
remember.
Bonko.
Thank you.
Vonko.
I knew it was an Ivan.
Yeah.
I was halfway there. So go on. I now answer the question that I asked you before you sprung that on
What
me.
was your question? I can't remember.
You just seem to be pretty quiet while me and
No,
Neil
I'm
are
just,
over here.
I'm just listening. Yeah, this movie's awful. Like,
Oh,
where is the first Iron Man? I feel like they do a really good job of, like, they introduce Tony Stark, and even when you get to points where you're like, I don't think I like this guy, he shows how his, like, workaholicism kind of, like, points him in a direction where, like, he points it to good, where you're like, oh yeah, like, he really is a talented person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't deny that. Like, he even lays it out in a way where even, like, a person that doesn't even understand what he's describing, you can kind of slowly follow him throughout it, where you're like, oh yeah, he knows what he's doing, he's laying it out flat, like, he's good at what he does. And in Iron Man 2, like, I feel like they lose that pretty fast, where a lot of this movie is just Tony Stark being just a rich douchebag that just throws parties all the time.
See, I see where you're coming from, but I do have a counter argument to that, where he almost has like a death wish because he knows that he's dying and he can't figure out a way to stop him from being poisoned.
Yeah, but then he doesn't try and find a solution until someone says, hey, try to find a solution.
Well, he said he's gone through every solution, every known element, every variation of that element, and nothing is there.
Yeah, and then when they do say, hey, maybe there is a answer in this, it is in such a far-fetched manner where I'm like, how did you not find this yourself? There is a very far-fetched situation in this where you're like, that's not even a fucking thing.
That is a complaint I do have of this movie, where I don't even know if he could have ever found that himself. I saw it and I'm like, how did you fucking figure that out at all? Like, I watched his whole thing his process putting it together, and I'm like, that still doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, like, this felt like the point in the movie where it's like, we gotta introduce, like, a part of Iron Man where it's like, he's figuring it out. He's figuring it out for himself. But then it's like, this thing is so far-fetched where it's like, it doesn't even feel like a part of Iron Man. Where Iron Man, you can kind of see how he got to where he got to building his suit. And in this, they want to make you feel like you figured out how he got to where he got to inventing an element.
See, that's not even, like, the weird part to me where he invented an element. It's the part that, like, his dad was already on that, and somehow he built the Stark Expo to mirror what the atom should look like.
Yeah.
And that's how he put it together?
And then, for some reason, he would figure out how to build the element based on the atom from a laser.
A park layout?
Oh,
I don't know.
A laser that he built to shoot at some triangle in the middle of the room.
I found that less far-fetched than him finding...
This entire movie's far-fetched.
Well, Infinity War is far-fetched.
Yeah, but at least Infinity War built me to the point where I was like, okay, I can get this. But holy shit, it gets to a point where they're just like, okay, we're just tired of Tony feeling sorry for himself. let's invent a bunch of shit to make him feel better.
Neil,
Yeah.
you've been silent.
Yeah, so the only thing I really kind of want to add into this is that the only thing I didn't quite get, like, I is that, like, okay, his dad couldn't invent an element because he didn't have the technology to do so, but it happened to be the element that saved his life. That's the only thing that I find a bit coincidental. But other than that, I don't care how he did it or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
he's a man who fights crime in an iron suit. So, like,
Yeah.
I don't. The fact that the element, his dad was like, I can't create this, but you can. Maybe it'll help you someday, son. Oh, of course it happened to. It's immediately what he needed, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't even put that really together until now. It's like, yeah, that is a big coincidence.
It's like I feel like this movie tries to give you that same feel that you got from the first Iron Man, where you're watching this guy slowly progress to a point where he's developed this suit where he can fight crime almost with no type of detriment. And then it's like, oh, well, if he has detriment that involves him, that involves like some kind of thing going through his chest that's killing him, how can we like develop that same idea where it's like, okay, now we're getting to a point where he has to develop an entirely new element that involves a glowing triangle of something that has not been described that he shoots a laser at. Where it's
Hey,
like,
man,
okay,
you don't know
well,
how
then-
elements are made. Are you a fucking scientist? Let me see your goddamn PhD, bro.
right here, bitch.
Oh
Look
shit,
at-
there it is!
Oh, man. He's showing it. He's showing it to everybody.
I'm a doctor, motherfucker. No, but it just felt like they leapt above and beyond what they did in the first one, where it's like, okay, sure, but I don't know. It felt like kind of a cop out as opposed to the first one where they took their time, and then this one they're like, ah, shit, we're halfway through the movie and he hasn't done shit. He's building an element.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah.
was kind of paying attention to that, because this is not that much longer than the first one. It's just a little over 2 hours.
Yeah.
But, like, really, Mickey Rourke doesn't even come into contact with Tony Stark until halfway through this movie.
Yeah.
Roughly.
Yeah.
And I actually, Mickey Rourke isn't a huge part in this either.
No.
I thought by all the because I followed a lot of the pre-production of this, and like Mickey Rourke was taking like dialect lessons for Russian and all this kind of
Yeah.
stuff, and spending time in like a prison to get like tough and all that other
I kind of
shit.
wanted to go back and watch the trailer for this movie because like going back and rewatching this movie, it felt like a lot of the beats that I somewhat remembered from the trailer really hit hard in this movie. Where it was like, it felt like a lot of this movie was built around, we got a fucking awesome trailer, and it's just like here's Mickey Rourke saying, your streets will run with blood, whatever, blah blah. Where you're like, okay,
Your
like,
streets are all red with birds.
yeah. Like it felt like there was a lot of beats that were hit throughout where it was like, I kind of remember that from the trailer, and it felt kind of out of place in the movie in general.
The only thing I really remember from the trailer is him like chopping a F1 Formula racing car in half.
Yeah.
And then like
And even that
the
scene-
reveal of the suitcase suit in the trailer.
Yeah, like that was like that scene felt like, let's put this scene in the movie because it'll look badass in the trailer.
Well, yeah, maybe.
I mean, it was a badass scene in the movie itself, but it was like, he's at Monaco, Formula One, guy cuts car in half, and then Iron Man
Classic
comes
trailer
out of
material.
comes out of a suitcase, and then it's like after that, then they're like, then they spend a long period of time just being like, who are you? I need to find out what's killing me. Where it's like, that's all this shit where it's like, okay, we saw that cool stuff in the trailer. What are you going to do after that? We're going to have a big long scene where he tries to figure out what's killing him. Well, that's not in the trailer.
Well, you can't give everything. You can't blow your wad in the trailer, JT.
Yeah, you can't blow your wad of what palladium is killing me. Yeah, what an awesome scene in a trailer.
You can't like take away though that this movie kicks off more of the expanded universe than like a lot of them did. So this one has the introduction of Nick Fury and Black Widow in it. So like that's pretty big. And that I think that was kind of what's going to let some of this down. Is like a lot of that had to get established in this.
Yeah, well, they established Nick Fury at the end credits of Iron Man 1.
Yeah.
But he just hasn't
I
been
guess, yeah.
in an actual movie, I don't think, until now.
And
yeah,
I'm not a big fan of Black Widow's establishment in this because it's like, so what are you doing? Like, there's so much time that she spends in this where she's just like, I'm doing this. Why? Well, I'm supposed to act like I'm working for you. But why are you supposed to act like you're working for me? Like, you're a fucking secret agent. Like it feels like a lot of this is just built on, like, she's hot and she's acting like she wants to fuck Tony Stark up to the very end where she actually does do, like, cool fight scene stuff.
Mm-hmm. I feel they put her in this before they really had the character fleshed out. Because in this, she's, like, super spy and less, like, tactical espionage type of stuff where she is in, like, Winter Soldier and all that kind of stuff.
Like, it wasn't until Avengers where it felt like you got an idea of, like, why she does what she does.
Yeah.
Because in this, like, she acts like she wants to fuck Tony Stark, but then it's like, why? Whereas, like, when she's in Avengers where she actually wants to fuck that weird Russian guy, and then it's just a way of getting information out of him where it's like, so why did you want to get information out of Tony Stark when you weren't even really trying to get information out of him? Like, I was like, what's happening? Like, why are you being so seductive and then just walking away without really getting information?
She's infiltrating his company, JT.
I don't know. She just felt like a character where it's like, she's sexy. And then it's like, oh, at the end, she's a secret agent, so she's also really good at fighting people, but she's also sexy.
You gotta have that sexy cat suit in there.
Fair enough.
Puts butts in seats.
Fair enough. Happy was all about that fucking bra reveal at the
end. Driving off the road. What actually was Black Widow doing in this movie? Can anyone remind me? Like, what was her end goal here?
I think she was doing an assessment of Iron Man in general.
Oh, yeah, for the Avengers.
Because at the end they were like, okay, is he fit to be part of the Avengers Initiative?
Got it. I thought that too, because obviously now with hindsight, like, you see her introduced, and I did think, like, right away, I'm like, this is a bit of a departure for her first appearance, like, where she is now, like, fighting space aliens.
Yeah.
And it is weird to see her, like, almost in a subservient, like, assistant type of thing, just to be like infiltrating some corporation. But then again, I'm like, she is a spy, so I kind of looked over all those details. But at the same time, I was like, yeah, this is a little weird. But it was a detail I was able to look over.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things.
You don't even know what she did in Budapest. Don't even get Hawkeye started on Budapest.
Oh, so. God, fucking Budapest.
Buddha. Neil, do you got anything to add to this here?
For Black Widow?
Anything.
Shit.
We've been kind of talking you out, so.
I just wanted to add, we could add a few things. I'd like to touch on one of my favorite things of this movie, Justin Hammer, and who is, I'm super disappointed hasn't shown up again.
Yeah.
And he totally could, but like, I really liked. First, I guess the corporate versus corporate thing that he just is like Tony Stark Industries' direct competition, or took over from whenever the weapons dealing or whatever. And you couldn't, like, Sam Rockwell obviously carries this role like so hard, and he is so incredible, and he has like the exact personality and attitude that you'd want that kind of douchebag to have, and he just does an amazing job. Like, it's such a pity that he hasn't showed up again.
I know.
I've heard like different interviews that he's done where it's like I would not be opposed to having Justin Hammer show up. Like I'm like crossing my fingers that Justin Hammer plays somewhat of a role in Endgame because I want to see him so bad. He is such a fucking amazing villain in this, just because he's like Tony Stark if Tony Stark was like a nerd.
Yeah.
I would even like Justin Hammer to like show up in like a Spider-Man movie or something like that.
Just something where it's like he just comes in and he's like he feels like he's like a know-it-all, and then like someone just shows up and just shows him up and he's like, oh fuck that.
I also like too that I'm fairly certain that he thinks that he's the king shit, even though he knows he puts out shitty products.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every scene in this, he comes off as like just a fucking idiot. Like even when he's talking to like the Ivan guy, and he's just like, hey, he's gonna go and check out the helmets. Okay, cool. Well, just go ahead and do that. Where it's like he has these guidelines that he has in his mind, and then he just immediately washes them away when someone just dives in and does them anyways. It's like, well, you're doing okay. Well, never mind. Oh, well, that's cool. You can do that. That's fine.
It's like, hey, Ivan, I asked for suits. That's not a helmet. Try to get that on. Could you get your head in there? It's not a helmet.
Yeah, could be your head in there. Oh no, you
can't
can't
get his head in there. I also like the first dinner table scene where he gets like Ivan out of jail, and then he's going on about his whole speech, and then Ivan goes on in Russian. He's like, okay, so did you hear anything I said? We can get an interpreter here.
Does he speak English?
I love that shit. Like even like when he's doing the Stark Expo shit, and he's like he does his dance, and then the fucking podium's there, and the podium's there. He's like, get that out of here. Like he's just like, get that shit out of here. And then like and then when he goes to the backstage, and then Pepper and fucking Black Widow are like, what happened? Who are you working for? And he's like, get these bitches out of here.
Yeah.
Like he's super used to just barking orders, but he does it in such a geeky bullshit manner where he just comes off as such a smarmy asshole. Or I love him throughout the whole fucking movie. He's like the best part of the movie.
When he's doing his product demonstration for the War Machine, trying to equip it with all those weapons, and he just is like, no, this is my or whatever. Can't remember the whole speech he goes into.
His
bunker busting missile.
Yeah, his descriptions of everything are fucking fantastic. And then when it gets to the end, and then like they're using that rocket that he's like talking up so hard, and it just ends up being this big piece of shit. It's like fucking. So good.
To the point where he shoots it, it bounces off of him, and then farts in that little. It farts. His missile farts in a river. That's so good. But I hope all that like weapons demonstration was all an ad lib by him, because it was so good.
Oh
the point where he's like, it makes like the nuclear bomb look like Ulysses was written in crayon.
Yeah. Like, what does that even mean? Like, that is so dumb.
Yeah.
It's like the most pretentiously dumb thing I've ever heard.
It busts a bunker after a bunker's been busted. It's like, what the fuck is this shit?
He is by far like the best part of this movie. Another aspect I did like of this, though, that they did bring in Tony Stark's dad working with S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
They throw in that little fold into the Marvel universe, and that maybe Tony Stark didn't know him as well as he thought, and I kind of like that. I liked all that little wrinkle added into this. I didn't necessarily like the fact that they made the whole Stark Expo, the whole thing. I already went into that. It just makes no sense on why they would, if that was his grand scheme of things, why he would spend probably millions and millions of dollars to make a huge model of an atom? Is that what he was going for?
Yeah.
Why not just put it on a drawing?
Not even a model of an atom, a very obscure model of an atom where it's like, I expect my son to know that you have to erase all of the roads and the modern obscurities that I have throughout this entire model to know that the big globe in the middle and all of the fucking buildings involved are the neutrons and electrons involved in the atom of this element that I want you to build.
Yeah.
The fact that I have faith in you to know how to build element. I'm building it all around this thing that I just built in the 80s, expecting you to know how to do this.
Yeah, obviously.
It's obscure as fuck. It's the most obscure fucking thing possible.
The most obscure thing is the whole park as a diagram, but I don't care that he can build an element. That doesn't bother me at all whatsoever.
But the fact that he has to dissect this park to build an element, and then the fact that he puts this weird triangle metal in the middle to build this laser in his house, it felt so weird. Where it's like, in the
I like
first
that you're
one,
struggling to get through this.
It's so fucking hard because in the first one, like, you can see like how his madness kind of builds up, where like he's doing all this shit to build his armors, to where like he's blowing out all these windows in his super secure basement. And in this, it's just like, well, fuck it. Everyone knows he's crazy. Let's have him build a giant laser in his fucking basement out of nowhere for no reason. Where you're like, but how did he get to that point? Like, all you've seen so far is he's a rich asshole. Mm-hmm. How do you know that he's this crazy to build a laser? But like, that's the only thing that drives me crazy about it, is that like the first one, they build you to that point where he's crazy enough to build this. And in this one, it's just like, well, he built a giant laser. Fuck him.
I don't know. He built that suit in a cave with a box of scraps, so he can build any laser, in my opinion.
There you go. He lasered up. What did... So, I guess I wasn't really paying too close attention as the movie was going along. But as I was thinking about it right before we started recording, I was like, I guess it's kind of weird that they never really make reference to the palladium before this, or even after, like that it poisoned him, because it seemed like that wasn't a necessary thing when he was making the arc reactor in his chest. Because wouldn't the arc reactor, the big one in the first movie, need a lot of palladium to work then?
I don't know.
That's just something I'm picking apart in my brain right now.
Yeah, 'cause he seems to go through it quite fast in this one.
Yeah, maybe it's just the more advanced model that he has that needs something to burn through it. But
that's why Obadiah Stane said it was a prototype. Just a prototype. Couldn't get the right materials.
Very good. Wasn't cost effective.
There you go.
Got it. Too much palladium. At least it didn't like make it something called like unobtainium. At least they didn't go that route. But anyway, I just wanted to say I didn't hate that part while I was watching the movie. I kind of liked that it gave him that I don't give a shit about my life anymore attitude, because he thought he was dead to rights, as his blood toxicity like reached like 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind that, but like they got to a point where it's like, well, here's a cure, and then he's like, well, fuck it. Like, I don't know. I don't
think he ever said "fuck the cure."
Like, I don't know. I don't know. This movie felt so like one-dimensional in the fact that it's like, well, he's a rich asshole. Let's make him act like a rich asshole, and then make the excuse that he doesn't know that he has an actual cure for himself until like halfway through the movie, where we have to make him have this big battle scene at the end. Like, they almost introduced S.H.I.E.L.D. as a means of, hey, here's a bunch of your dad's work, figure out a cure. And then he does in a very obscure way where it's like, okay, you made a triangle glow. Now you're invincible.
I think you just hate triangles.
Yeah, I do.
The world's strongest
I fucking hate them. I fucking hate them. Squares are better.
I don't know about that. You know what squares are made out of? 2 triangles.
Fuck them.
Wow.
But it just, I don't know. It just felt like like they got to a point where it's like, okay, he's been a rich asshole for an hour and 15 minutes. What do we do up to this point to make him likable? Hey, let's let him confront his mortality and make him invent a new element that makes him invincible. Cool, let's do that.
See, that's the whole part where I didn't take it like, yeah, he's just a rich asshole. I definitely took it as he's got nothing to live for now, and so it makes him like a flawed character. Like, fuck it, I don't care. I'll whatever. If I'm gonna die, yeah, I'll throw this birthday party, and I end up getting too drunk and making a shithead of myself.
I mean, sure, but up to the point where you're actually confronting the fact that he's going to die, he talks nonstop. Like that, like in the first one, he talks, but it's never to a point where it's like, fuck this guy. Like from scene 1, he talks where I'm like, fuck this guy. I was never a fan of Tony Stark throughout this. Like there are points where people bring up like, Tony, you're kind of going, oh, what? I'm doing this? Oh, whatever, I'm doing this. Okay, cool, whatever. Where you're like, shut up for a second. I cannot stand your voice. He talks throughout. I can, like, to the point where I was like, enough. Just let other people talk.
I didn't. Go ahead, Neil.
I don't know.
I thought you were gonna cut in there.
No, I'm just chuckling.
See, that doesn't bother me at all. I like the fact that it starts out and he just feels like he is the fucking cream of the crop. And I like that because now he's on top of the world now that he's got super popularity, that he's Iron Man, that he feels like he's king shit. I really like that aspect, that it really takes something to knock him back down in order for him to like, well, I need to guess I build myself back up again. I like that.
I never feel like he gets to the point where he needs to build himself back up, though. Like, that's what makes me kind of feel like whatever about him, is that he does confront this threat, and even when he confronts the threat, he's just like, oh, you? Well, you mean you could have done this. I mean, you didn't really do this. Like, I feel like he's like talking about how he fucked up, where you're like, I don't know. He never. I can't get behind Tony Stark in this one, where he seems like a pompous dickhead throughout. Like they never introduce anything that makes me feel like I can connect to him, as opposed to the first one, where he seems he's enough of a workaholic where I can see all the hard work he puts into the suit, whereas here he's like, I'm a drunk asshole all the time. I'm constantly throwing parties.
How many parties does he throw in this movie?
The expo, his birthday, Monaco, he fucking just goes out and does his own thing. Like, he literally is doing everything he wants to do throughout, and he's just, I don't know. He just strikes me as a pompous asshole throughout the whole movie.
I think you're supposed to, like, think that, though.
Maybe, but if you want to be somewhat likable, even by the end, I wasn't even like that big of a fan of him.
See, by the time he was able to counteract the palladium poisoning in himself, and him and War Machine show up at the end, I liked when they were mowing down all those hammer drones. I thought that was a fun action scene at the end. I thought that Whiplash was dispatched pretty easily.
Yeah.
And I thought it was kind of weird that they still had him be like the big bad at the end.
Yeah.
Especially since he didn't have like a huge, I guess, showing in this movie. He had less than I thought, and less than I actually remembered. I didn't hate the stuff that he was in. I just didn't think, I just didn't think he was like a worthy enough addition to the script.
Yeah, Whiplash felt like really, just like an easy villain in this.
I didn't mind the fact that his dad also helped like come up with the arc reactor technology stuff. I'm like, okay, you're making it, you're retconning in like a reason why he would be a foil for Iron Man.
Yeah,
cool. I like that idea.
Yeah.
I just didn't think that it paid off in the end, where then it just feels like he's tacked on.
Yeah.
Whereas like I felt like he was written in in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Right.
After the whole Monaco scene, I don't feel like he was, I guess, really needed.
No.
Yeah.
I think they could have done something better. Like, unfortunately, the thing to make him better is not have Justin Hammer, but I wouldn't not want to have him. Like, if you would have had him in the beginning, like, you find out about Ivan Vanko in the beginning and like, it would have been a cool progression of his story if they would have, like, made him, like, essentially kind of like an Iron Man that built himself from scratch, kind of like Tony Stark did, to beat him in that certain way, too. But, like,
Right.
for some reason, Justin Hammer was thrown in there, and it kind of... I don't know. It kind of... everything. They both kind of muddied each other up a bit, but, like, I'd rather take Justin Hammer over the Whiplash character.
Yeah.
So
even though I like their interaction with one another, it was like a real
Right,
fun
same.
parts.
Those are probably the most fun parts in the movie was Justin Hammer and Whiplash together, where it's just Justin Hammer with anybody is so fucking fun in this, where he tries to accommodate anyone that he feels he's inferior to, and just tries to build off of their success to make himself feel more like better.
Yeah.
Like that one scene that he gets to where he's talking to Rhodey, where it's like, oh, I know more than all of these guys, and then that's when he like flexes his machismo on them, where it's like, oh, so he follows all these guys that he knows more than him, to a point where it's like, okay, I'm gonna steal all your shit, so then when I get to this point, then I can flex my muscle, where it's like, hey, you guys want this gun? I know all this shit about this gun. I'll fucking talk about this gun all day long. Like, I love that shit.
No collusion.
I love that shit. I love that shit. Like, he knows when to be subservient and sit back and listen, and then when he gets to a point where he is selling to somebody, he is a perfect salesman, and I love that about this character. And I was talking about on our last show, I think this movie does a really good job of portraying Tony Stark in that sense that he always follows his intuition or his conscience, where, like, especially in this, like, if you follow the Iron Man from Iron Man 2, he's pretty much on the side of Captain America from Civil War in this movie. Because he comes in and the government's like, hey, give us your suit, because your suit means that we can defend ourselves. And he's like, no, it's my suit. I can defend the country by myself, because I know how to control it and how to defend it by myself. I know all the controls and blah blah blah. Whereas opposed to
I like how you took those quotes verbatim.
Fuck it. I'm drunk at this point. Whereas opposed to Civil War, where, like, that's kind of what Captain America's argument is, where it's like, look, we know what we're doing. Like, just
if something needs to be done, we should be able to do it.
We know how to do it. And then Iron Man gets exposed to a point where it's like, oh shit, we killed some people during this. And then he gets taken back, where it's like, maybe we should let the government do this stuff for us. Where it's like, he always follows his conscience to a point where it's almost a detriment, to where it's like, well, I don't want to take blame for this, so then let's give this to the government. But I love it that in Iron Man 2, he's the exact opposite of that, because he's never been exposed to that point where he's put someone's life in danger just yet.
I actually like the whole like Senate press conference whole thing.
Gary Shandling's fucking awesome as that senator.
God, he is.
I
Senator
fucking loved
Stern
him.
or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. I love him in this a whole lot, and how he just hates Tony Stark.
Yeah.
And it just, his vitriol is so good. And just the fact when they where they're showing, they bring in Justin Hammer as well, And
Yeah.
then they're bringing up like all these tests that things are happening there, and Tony Stark throws them up on the screen, and Justin Hammer immediately gets up and is trying to unplug the TV.
Yeah. It's like, I'd just like to let you know that guy survived.
Justin Hammer's so fucking good in this movie. I love it so much. He's like Tony Stark if Tony Stark was not as smart as he was. Where he's like, fuck. I tried.
Yeah.
You brought up kind of like how Iron Man feels like he is like playing the Captain America role if he was in Civil War.
Yeah.
I was gonna actually bring up something close to that on our Thursday ep about Iron Man 1.
Yeah.
How his whole like, I'm gonna go to like the Middle East and like kind of free these people on my own felt like very Captain America to me. I don't know. It's kind of just ironic that you bring it up now in this one when I felt like the same way about in the last one.
Yeah.
The only thing I kind of disagree with you about, like, he doesn't want to give it to the government because I think it's for a different reason, at least in my head.
Yeah.
That he doesn't want to sell this to the government for them to have like their own, like, I guess, quote, Iron Man army. He doesn't want to sell that to them.
Yeah.
Where he could feel like that would be like a big mistake on his part if he let that into the wrong hands. Because he doesn't trust the government.
But like I feel like in this movie he has not gotten to that extent where he's been exposed to a point where there's innocent lives on the line. And I think Civil War does a really good job of Captain America is that character that's like, I'm a hero regardless. Even if, like, innocent lives are lost, I know I'm doing the right thing. Whereas Iron Man is, if an innocent life is lost, then I feel like I'm to blame and I need to put this in someone else's hands so I'm not to blame for it. And I think that's the main argument of Civil War, where it's like, Iron Man is on Captain America's side up until the point where an innocent life is lost. Then he's like, oh, fuck, what did I do? Here, take this. This is not my fault.
No, I don't think that's the argument
No,
at all.
but I think
well, we're
that's
not
what it
arguing
is.
Civil War. We're arguing Iron Man 2 in
But
this.
no, but Iron Man 2, I feel like that's what it is. Like, Iron Man 2 is him acting like Captain America because he's never been exposed to that point in his life.
Neil, are you getting any of this?
Yeah, yeah. I guess my only comment on that part is just that he hasn't seen an alien invasion yet. That's like what I think his breaking point is. Like, regardless of how he acts in this movie or in Iron Man 1, I think it's not until the first Avengers movie that his, like, attitude actually, like, changes for, like, the betterment of the world rather than himself.
Alien invasion, that's a big point or whatever, but like for Civil War, I feel like when he gets exposed to that woman that's like, this is my son who died in this thing that you did in the last movie. And he's like, oh fuck, I really fucked up. And then that's when he's like, well, I don't want to take blame for that, so I want to put that on someone else. And that's when he was like, maybe we should really let these other people tell us what to do so that I am not taking the blame for what these people are accusing me of doing. Like, that's what I think this is. Like, Iron Man 2 is him acting like, oh, fuck, I can do whatever I want because nothing ever no one gets hurt when I jump in because I have this big fucking powerful suit and I can save people. Whereas when they introduce Captain America is the exact opposite of Iron Man, where he jumps in and says, look, if someone dies on my watch, that's on me, but I'm not going to let that affect what I do because I know what I'm doing is right. And Iron Man is, oh fuck, someone died. Hey, someone else jump in and tell me what to do so I'm not fully to blame. That's what I think.
Right.
That's what I think the whole synopsis of Civil War is.
Why are you still arguing Civil War?
Because we're jumping on it. Fuck you. This is Civil War talk now.
Banging on about Civil War, and I'm just like, what'd you think of Black Widow? So he doesn't feel the same as Captain America.
Fuck you, dude. I'm like 4 beers deep, and you got like some really fucking strong IPAs.
And this honey orange triple, which is really good.
Jesus Christ.
That is actually a really good one.
Yeah. It's
10
10% alcohol per volume, though. Fuck you.
What I have to say is that his palladium content in his bloodstream is so high, he's just going on about Civil War. Am I right? Just
Exactly.
kidding. Hey,
If you could see my veins right now, they are borderline toxic.
what'd you guys think of what's his name? Not Iron Man, War Machine. I liked War Machine in this.
Yeah,
Like
same.
like up until the end, like I love that they did the armament thing to bulk him out to like look like the War Machine, and I love that he has just a completely different arsenal, different fighting style. It's not about finesse; it's about these rocket launchers and super bunker busting barrage missiles. Like it's and this is one where I think the introduction of Don Cheadle in this is actually quite funny, in my opinion, where it's like you catch him walking in from behind, and then just a big reveal like, hey, I'm him now. I'm not Terrence Howard.
Yeah. I thought that was really funny on this watch, too. It's like, everyone knows it's not Terrence Howard.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you doing the slow reveal? It doesn't make any sense.
I love the hearing, too, because Gary Shandling is supposed to play, like, this congressman that's, like, super against Tony Stark and everything, where it's like, hey, read this line from this thing that you wrote, where it's like, well, I mean, it's kind of out of context, but I'll read it. And then he reads it, and it's like, but I also feel, we don't have time, never mind, don't say that. Or he cuts him off, it's like, oh, that's like a typical, like, political move, too, where it's like, oh, fuck. Like, Gary Shandling is fucking perfect as that congressman. So good. I love him so much.
Even the point at the end of that conference where Tony Stark is like, you want my stuff? You can't have it. Peace out. And then he's like, fuck you, Mr. Stark.
Yeah, fuck you. Fuck you, sir.
No collusion.
Oh, yeah. But I do like that. It's kind of funny if you think about it, too, because Justin Hammer, I guess, would have kind of designed the Iron Man, or the War Machine suit, and they just kept it. They just kind of kept that design throughout.
I love that idea, though, where it's like Justin Hammer moves in and just, like, introduces all these guns, and then he's like, yeah, I'll take all of it. And then it like, develops a suit that becomes a, like, superhero in the MCU.
Yeah. And granted, if that's not, like, what he actually looked like in the books, I feel like Tony Stark would have an argument and be like, you wouldn't want me just to redesign that for you? Like, make it a little more sleek? Like, you really want Justin Hammer's name on this? You really want it on there?
Rhodey's a government guy through and through, though. So
I suppose.
Dude, Justin Hammer would be an awesome character in the MCU where it's like, he works for both sides. It's just a matter of who pays him more.
Yeah.
Like, that would be so cool, just, like, involve him in where it's like, hey, the Avengers are paying me more money at this point. Well, here's some guns that I'm working on, and then it's like,
I mean, they're shit, but you can have them.
Yeah, they're shit, but But like, Justin Hammer would be a fucking awesome character throughout, just to be like, he's neutral.
Can you imagine like a Justin Hammer Rocket Raccoon conversation?
Oh my
Jesus.
God. I'm legit crossing my fingers that I hope Justin Hammer shows up in Endgame.
Oh my! I don't know where they would squeeze him in, but I
want him. I want him so bad.
You know where he is? Jensen is on his shoulders, and they make up Thanos.
Oh, fuck.
Oh my God! It's a two-kid in a trench coat
Oh,
situation. Yep.
fuck.
Oh, it's so good.
Give it to me.
That's a good idea. That's a really good idea.
It is a legitimate, really good idea.
Well, do you guys got anything else really to say about Iron Man 2 here, or we'll kind of wrap it up? I just want to say on this rewatch, I thought that this movie took a bit more of a kicking now than I think it deserves. I don't think it's the worst Marvel movie by far. Granted, I feel like somebody's going to chime in over here, then say otherwise, but I had a lot of fun watching this movie to the point where I finished it and I'm like, I really enjoyed that watch. And I think also, too, is that it also is another Paramount movie where it doesn't feel like the Disney movies that have come out afterwards. And I think that was also in its favor. Like, it had a little bit more sex appeal that the Disney movies don't really have. And it just didn't... It went other places where I don't think Disney will go. And it's not even in huge venues. It's just like in a small tone here or there of a movie. And I think that was working for me. So, like, I had fun with this.
Which great.
I agree. I second that, actually. I actually had quite a bit of fun with this one, too. I was kind of, I talked at the beginning of Colin of where I would rank this. So, like, not at the bottom, but, like, it's also got really hard competition
What
to
are you doing with your microphone?
Are you jacking off your microphone right now?
No, I'm not I'm sorry, I'm not even touching it. I don't know what's going on. But, yeah, it's, I wouldn't say it's anywhere near the bottom, but it's still really good.
Yeah.
The little scene where he stops Pepper's perpetual motion machine on her desk is like my favorite thing ever. So
I didn't like that.
and just for that, I award this way too many thumbs up for that. So
way too many. Got it. Did you want to go in? I'll go into my grade right now.
What's grade?
I'll go out and say I would give this movie a solid B. I enjoyed this movie.
B.
Yeah.
I'm more in the probably B- area, maybe C+. But yeah, that's probably where I'd say.
Oh, man. Watching this back, I had a much more appreciation for Captain Marvel.
Oh, no way. This movie's better than Captain Marvel.
I feel like they do... Man, I want to like this movie more, but I feel like they go so hard in trying to make Iron Man and Tony Stark seem cool, where I just didn't end up liking him at the end. And even introducing War Machine and having that fight scene at the end, I'm like, I mean, sure, but like, fuck, like I couldn't get into it, so I'll probably give it like maybe a decent C.
You're not gonna break. What do you really want to grade it? You're not gonna break my heart. What do you really want to grade it?
Fuck, maybe a C-, because I was like, watching this back and then watching Captain Marvel, I feel like Captain Marvel did a little bit more than Iron Man 2 did. Because the things that I liked about Iron Man in the first one, this one kind of goes against it because it suffers from sequelitis so much, where it's like, hey, people like Tony Stark because he's so cocky. Let's make him cocky throughout the whole fucking movie to where he's almost insufferable. Or it's like, God damn it, I just do something that I liked from the first one, and they'd never do it. I couldn't get behind them.
All right.
Where I was like, Captain Marvel, she's not the best, but I feel like she is likable in that more than in Iron Man 2. So I'm gonna give it a C-.
All right. I disagree with that, but
well, then go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself, all of you Potter boys.
Oh, jeez. All right, that's a bit harsh.
Yeah.
What's Cora's number? I'll tell him to fuck himself.
Oh, I will actually give you that so you can tell him that.
Do it right on the air. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And Crocodile Dundee, it sucks too. Never mind.
But as we're on that topic of conversation, I did bring up last week that we did have iTunes reviews.
Yeah.
And one of them happens to be from my brother. So I'm going to read that right now. He said while he was reading it that he saw another one on there, and I couldn't find it. But anyway, I'll read his. Here we go. 5 stars, so thank you so much, Corey.
Fuck yeah.
Been binge listening for a couple of weeks now. Also, although JT's opinions anger me greatly at times.
Fuck him.
Love the banter and reviews. Would love to make an appearance on the next time you go down under for any additional Crocodile Dundee reviews. Let's get into it. rated 5 stars. If you're curious, our iTunes review, or I guess score, is 4 stars out of 5, which is great. We do have one-star review in there, which is kind of throwing off everything.
Ugh.
And I wish that one had some comments on it that I could find.
I want to read it so bad. I love terrible reviews.
So do I, but for whatever reason, I can't. There's nothing I can click on here that can show me if that one has a review or not. So I guess we'll just always be in constant. And now it just says, "Oh snap, something went wrong," and displaying this web page. So I'm closing out of Google
Fuck 'em.
altogether.
Fuck them.
So that's some fun stuff there. So all in all, we get a mixed reviews on Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
Do you want to check back in? Maybe not for Endgame. I feel like we're gonna have a lot to talk about then.
Oof.
But
Endgame is going to be so... I don't even know if we should do news for Endgame.
depending on how much I want, if it just ends up being like a great movie,
Yeah.
that kind of sometimes lends to not having a lot to talk about besides like, this part was great, this part was great.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. But like, I want to see if I can also watch Iron Man 3 pretty soon and do like just a
There you go.
revisit.
A mini review?
Yeah, not even if it's like a whole
enough.
Monday show, just like in something else we've been into
Fair
or
enough.
whatever else.
Yeah.
But anyway, besides we got Endgame coming up, anything coming up down the pipeline next Monday, or are we gonna just play it by ear?
Next Monday, from what I can recall, if you want to, we might do our first foyer into the Fast and Furious.
We could dip our toe into that Furious pool.
All right. Do our Fast and Furious summer lineup, since we're going to be doing a lot of theater endeavors.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, we can do
Sounds
that.
good. Well, why don't we do that then?
We can do that.
So, for the upcoming Hobbs and Shaw, we're gonna just tickle our fancy with a little bit of Fast and Furious movies in there.
I want to watch a Hobbs and Shaw so bad. It looks so goddamn good. It looks so fucking bad.
But the next time you'll be hearing us will be for Endgame.
Yes. Can't wait. And if willing permitted, Dinosaur Neil will also be involved.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Coming back for the turkey.
Fuck yeah.
Sure, yeah, that turkey.
Fuck yeah.
But JT, if people want to turkey you, where could they do so?
Gobble me at Bucky Fern on Twitter, also Bucky Fern on Twitter, also Bucky Fern on Instagram. Troy.
Neil.
Hey, you can
Yeah.
find me. You can find me on Twitter at Dino Neilman. You can also find the podcast I do separately, Credits Due, at Credits Due Pod on Twitter and Instagram. We do a deep dive into individual actors and go do a selection of films and have a season on them. We're currently in Julian Moore, if you're interested.
Yeah. Check out their review of Symbol Man, which is probably out either today or the day after today.
Correct.
Yes. I can never remember your schedule. It's every 2 weeks, but I never remember when it drops.
It's usually like at noon on Mondays, but I put it out like in the morning. So whenever you download your podcast, either
Just keep refreshing that page.
just keep refreshing. It'll come out. It'll come out probably the noon of the day that this comes out.
Very good. You can find me at Short of the Max on Twitter. You can find both me and JT at Review Pod. If you got something to say, don't forget to vote for Tourney of Random Movies that we have up every
So we got
single
Howard the
week.
Duck versus fuck, can't remember what it was. Howard the Duck versus the Goofy Movie.
Yes, that poll will be closing sometime this week.
Yeah.
Very soon. I think you might have like a couple days left.
Couple days.
All of our episodes are uploaded onto reviewpod.podbean.com, as well as uploaded on a slew of other sites. If you're listening to the show now, you're doing something right. But if you listen to us on iTunes, why don't you rate and review us there, such as Corey did. If you like the show, that helps other people find the show. And if you want to write in, do so at gmail.com.
Yes.
Yes. Great show, boys. Good showing. Even though
Good
JT
job.
couldn't stop talking about Civil War.
Hey, I'm just saying.
Jesus Christ.
I feel like if I get to a certain drunk moment, I just start argument.
There's no
Civil War.
changing your mind. You'll just always talk
Yeah.
about Civil War.
I'm always on hashtag Team Cap. Always on Team
God.
Cap.
See,
Fuck all y'all.
that's just unacceptable.
Neil, you're on my side, right? Neil?
I okay. Just
Neil?
I'm gonna. Yeah, okay, I've had this conversation with a couple of my work friends, and my work friend is Team Tony Stark, and I'm actually Team Cap too.
Fuck
So
yeah.
Jesus.
yeah.
I am also Team Tony Stark when that whole thing was a thing, because I feel like it's the realistic choice of
It's
what
okay.
some.
It's okay, Neil. Don't let him change your mind.
I won't.
Don't. We're friends.
Great. I'm glad this arbitrary argument over a movie isn't gonna break up our brotherhood. I'm thankful for that. So anyway, Neil, I'll see you
Neil-
on vacation.
Neil, tell Troy to go fuck himself.
Oh no.
All right, great. So we will be back for Endgame.
Endgame. Exactly.
Coming up on an early drop for that review. So check that out.
I can't
on
wait.
Tuesday.
I've heard so many fucking good things about this.
I am staying so far away from this, it's ridiculous. But I've seen minor things that it's being received good, so that's good for me.
Or I got my tickets for 8:10 on Friday.
Oh my
I
God,
saved
you're-
them. I saved them. Cause like my boss said that he went to a movie on Wednesday and they said that AMC sold out of 4 different theaters.
You're going 8:10
Already.
p.m.
8:10 p.m. at the Phoenix Theater.
at the Phoenix Theater.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get out of there for like 11.
Yeah, I know. And I did not tell Molly that it's 3 hours yet, so she's gonna be super pissed by the time we get out.
I'm seeing it also Friday at a 6:10 showing, so I'll be out of there hopefully
Woof.
by 9:30.
Jesus,
Yeah.
when are you seeing it, Neil?
I've yet to get tickets, but hopefully this weekend.
Whoa.
You'll be surprised. I went to go get them at Phoenix because they're usually not sold out, but they had grayed out times already on their website.
Their 7 p.m. on Friday was already grayed out when
Yeah.
I was looking for the tickets.
Yeah. So I would check it out.
Yeah.
And also count
sure.
that it is 3 hours long. Maybe you can stay up later than I can. But
Yeah.
I'm an old man now, so that's how it goes.
In all honesty, Neil is cooler than you, so he should be able
Well,
to stay up later than you.
That's
This is
true.
so true.
That's true. He is a cooler person than me. Fucking
Pretty
idiot
cool.
wearing a Midwest shirt. Anyway, hey, that's the show. We will check you out when our full review of Endgame.
Yes.
Everyone check that out, and then join us for the next Monday where we dip our toes into that Fast and Furious pool.
Yes. And then possibly Platoon after that, maybe?
And possibly Platoon. So we got a few things down the
A
pipeline
lot
if
of
you
things
want to
down
watch
the
them up.
pipeline. Line them up.
That's right, baby.
Watch them down.
That's right, baby. But until then, I have been Troy to the max extreme.
Neil?
I've been Dinosaur Neil.
I am JT3K.
And we are off.